All right, so today I want to talk about what is a query string and how do we work with them. So pretty much any website you go to out there is going to use the query string for something. Just as an example, I'm on the Amazon website, and if I search for JavaScript, brings me up search results about JavaScript books. But up here, this is the query string, the thing that starts with a little question mark, which is why they call it a query string. It's also referred to sometimes as a search string. But these are parameters that are being passed off to the server. This string comes up here and they say k equals JavaScript, ampersand, and then some other information. The k equals JavaScript, that is one query string parameter. The ampersand separates multiple parameters, and I mean, I could write something else, 1 equals 2 or something like that, hit enter. They delete that off there when they refresh and send the page back to me, but that's how query string parameters work. They're just part of the URL. So after the folder and the file names, you get a question mark and then these strings. All right, so that's in general what a query string is. So I've got a simple page here, and I can load it without a query string or with a query string. There's one that I've got. 1 equals Bree, 2 equals Teya, 3 equals Rakim. Okay, so what is this going to do in my page? Down here in my script, I'm waiting for my page to load. I decided to use the load event here just to wait till it's loaded. Then I'm going to write out the href and the path name properties of the location. So location is something that you'll find inside the window object, window.location, window.location.href, window.location.pathname. href is the entire thing, so it's everything that's written up in here, including the protocol, including the port name, the domain name, the pages, the folders, the query string, everything. And that's what we see down here. This is the href. Pathname is everything from the initial slash that comes after the port number here, up to but not including the query string. So it's the folders and the file names. That's what we get here. Now search, that's going to give us question mark and the string. Now if it's just a question mark, it's going to say that the search is empty. The search property is empty. But if there is something, we can log that out. So location.search. There we go. Here is the search string. So 1 equals Bree, 2 equals Teya, 3 equals Rakim. I've got a bunch of different variables. There's 3 name value pairs separated with ampersands. There's equal signs in between them. And to protect special characters against something happening, there's a process called URL encoding, where any special characters that you put up inside of here, they should be URL encoded so that they appear as something like percent signs and then 2 hexadecimal digits. So instead of ampersand, it would be %3D. If I hit enter, okay, there's the %3D, but this is still an ampersand. It's just a URL encoded version of the ampersand. All right, now, if it exists, great. I'm going to do this bit of code right inside of here. We're going to take a look at the location.search. Now, if it does exist, it means the question mark is included, so I want to get rid of that. I'm going to create a variable here I'll call QS and set that equal to my location. And I'm going to use the substring method. I could use the replace method, but I'm going to take starting at position 1. So I'm going to skip past the question mark and then just take everything else. And then I'm going to convert that to the unencoded version. So decode URI component is the method that I want to use. This is a built-in method. There we go. Now that is going to be the version that has those percentage signs converted back into what they actually are. If we take a look here, there is, oh sorry, %3D is an equal sign, not the ampersand. This should be %26 for the ampersand. There we go. %26, that's the URL encoded version of the ampersand. %3d is the equal sign. So there we go. Here is the encoded and the unencoded version of that. All right, great. I've got those things inside of here. I'm just going to comment these out. Now, once I have that, what I need to do is I have to split this up. I have to say, okay, everywhere you find an ampersand, we're going to split it. That'll give me the name value pairs, and then we have to split it on each of the equal signs. So I'm going to create something called parts. The name here is not important. There we go. That's what's important, is the fact that I'm splitting it on the ampersand. So now each one of the parts of the part is going to be one of these name value pairs. If I write that out, there we go. Now parts is an array that's got 3 parts in it. Here's the first, the second, the third. Now I need to split each one of these on the equal sign, and I could turn it into another array, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to save it as a map. So 1, 2, and 3 are going to be the keys, Bri, Teya, and Rakim are going to be the values, and we have this map object, and I can use on the map these methods that we've got down here with the map object. So you can check and see, hey, is there something in the query string with this key? Or if I want to delete it, probably not going to need to, but getting the values out of there to find out what the values are, absolutely. Keys, if I ever needed to loop through a list of the keys, or there's a for each method that lets me loop through every one of the values and keys that are inside of there. All right, so we have this, and we want to create that map object. So we can use let or const. I'm going to call it params because it's my query string parameters. There we go. Now this is where we're going to use this set method. We're going to load all of these name value pairs into there as keys and values inside of that object. So we can say parts for each. It's an array. We're going to loop through it. And then for each one of these parts that are inside of there, we're going to say let key equal the part 0. If I split it on the equal sign, part that comes in front of the equal sign, that's going to be the key, and the part that comes after, that's going to be the val. There we go. There's my 2 pieces, and now we'll add it into the map. There we go. Now I have created a map object, and it's going to have everything from inside the query string there. So we could, at this point, if we wanted to look and see what's inside there, hey, let's write out, does params has something called 3? Okay, run that. True. Yes, there is something called 3 inside of there. Absolutely. What about 4? Is there something called 4? No, there isn't. Okay. What about looking at one of the values? Let's get one of the values out of there. Params.get, let's get the one that's called 2. What is the value of the thing called 2? Teya. There it is. So this is a way that we can track them. Now, if you ever want to dynamically put something up into the query string, maybe reload the page with something. So inside of here, I can say 1 equals 2. Doesn't really matter what the values are, but I've got a key and a value with an equal sign. I want that to be my brand new query string. When I click on load, okay, we're going to add a click listener to here. We're going to grab this value. We're going to URL encode it. We're going to append it to the end of this. So we're going to take the path name, put a question mark, and then this value encoded onto the end of it. Oh, we don't need to do it inside the if statement. We'll do it after the if statement. We're just going to add the listener. If we look up inside of the page here, I've got button search is my button, and search is the text field. Button search. We're going to add a click listener onto there. And the function that we're going to call when it gets clicked, I'm going to get the URL. I'm just going to take the path name. That's going to give me that starting slash. Okay, that is the piece of text inside the text input. We're going to get the value that's out of that text box, and I'm going to trim it just to be safe. I want to remove any extra spaces at the beginning or the end of that. Now, my new URL is going to be this plus the question mark plus the encoded version of this. So we're going to reset URL as, and I'll use a template string, makes it easy. I want the URL, then a question mark, and then inside of here, we're going to call the encode URI component. Inside of there, we're going to pass in this string. There we go. That is my new URL. And then to update the page, location.href equals URL. And that will reload my page. So that's saved. Here it is. And inside here, cheese equals blue. We'll click load. It's going to replace this. It's going to reload the page. I made a mistake there. You probably noticed it as I was typing it when I said it. This should have been path name, not href, because href includes the old version. So path name is the value that we want right here. Okay, try this again. We've got the full thing. I can go without the query string, changes it, with it. These are just anchor tags. I'm clicking, I'm reloading the page. Load. Let's try again. Cheese equals blue. Load, and there we go. Here is the new query string. There's the question mark at the end of it, and inside of here, there are the parts. Cheese is blue. So we have the whole thing, and we're getting a false for has 4. If I change that to has cheese, that's true. We want to get cheese. It is blue. So there we are. That is working with query strings, just as strings. Now, if you want, there is the brand new version. The URLSearchParams is a brand new version of doing this. Instead of having to work with the string independently like this, there is a URLSearchParams object, which you can give it the location search, and then it will automatically do this conversion. So it'll be like you've done the map conversion already. All right, hope that makes sense. Hope that helps you out. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'll answer as many as I have time for. And as always, thanks for watching.